Hi, my name is Nolan. Welcome to my channel. This is Hops&Flicks. Now, what I do in this channel is that I drink beer while I talk about my favorite TV shows or my favorite films. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the season finale of The White Lotus. So if you have not seen it, please do not watch this video because it has a lot of spoilers. Cheers. Alright, so I just want to say that I truly enjoyed this show. I thought the first season was good. I hated the season finale though. I really liked this season. I thought the performances were great. The music was on point, and I think overall, in my opinion, this season was a little better, or at least I found this season to be better. It had, I guess, more likable characters or more interesting characters this season, so yeah. And speaking of characters, I want to say that I'm very happy that the locals finally won. I think that was good right there for the viewers, or for most of us. I think we were rooting for them, even though of course Lucia was doing something wrong. I'm glad that she got that money. I'm glad that she basically got away with it, because we learned that for the Grasso family, money's not an issue, as Albie points out in one of the I think it was, I don't remember which episode it was, to be honest, but he basically asks his dad for 50,000 euros like it's nothing. And it's crazy considering that's a lot of people's yearly income. So we learned that this family is definitely not, they don't need the money, or, they have a lot of money. So I think this made me had a little less empathy for Albie. And the fact that in the end, even though he claimed to be this somewhat good guy, well, he wasn't, because he basically sold his integrity for that money. He put in the good work, with the whole thing with his mom and his dad, and he just basically lied for 50,000 euros. So I didn't really feel that bad at the end. I kind of sucked, but I didn't really feel bad for him. The whole thing with Bird not getting what he wanted out of meeting his relatives, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was a little funny, that whole scene, when he goes and he's trying to tell them like, hey, you guys are my family, and those people were not having it. I thought that was hilarious. So I guess for him it was a little disappointing. For Dominic though, so this is where it gets interesting, and I think it's the whole thing about this show is that fairness is not a thing. Even if you like the character, regardless of how good they are, how bad they are, things are just gonna go in a way that you might not, I guess, as the viewer expected. For me, I thought it was very frustrating that he basically in the end saw that light at the end of the tunnel, because of Albie. His wife was kind of like, hey, let's talk when you get here. So I don't know, maybe they will not get back together, but we know that he's not gonna change, and that's very obvious because of that scene at the airport where this woman is walking by and all three of them just kind of like, whoa. So, he's not gonna change. Okay, now moving on to the couple. There's Daphne, Cameron, Ethan, and Harper. And this was an interesting story. I think this story added a lot of tension and anxiety to the whole show, because we're trying to figure out, it's like we want, or at least I wanted, just Cameron to go down. Cameron was one of my least favorite characters. He was a douchebag. He was just everything that's wrong with society, basically. And it was very disappointing for me at the end to know that, or to find out, I guess as the viewer, that Cameron and Harper ended up hooking up, because I genuinely thought that she was just playing games with Ethan, because she knows that Ethan is very sensitive about the whole Cameron thing. And we learn, I believe it's from Daphne, that basically or actually from Ethan, I don't remember, that basically whenever Ethan likes a girl, then Cameron is just gonna be there, to kind of like mess with Ethan. And of course, we also find out that the whole reason for the trip is because Ethan didn't let Cameron know about his company, and now he wants him to, invest with him. So out of these four characters, I think, for me, I'm a huge fan of Aubrey Plaza, and I thought she did a fantastic job. But Megan Fahey, I believe that's how you pronounce Fahey. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. Apologies if I'm butchering her name. She stole the show. She was fantastic, and her character turned out to be more complex than what actually we thought at the beginning. Your stereotypical stay-at-home mom whose husband is cheating on her and she's basically looking the other side. No, this is not the case at all, as she lets us know throughout the whole show that she's not going to play the victim. She's not going to let herself be the victim, and I really thought that Megan did such a good job at conveying those two. It was like two characters in one, because in front of the guys, she put on this persona, but when she was with Harper, it was the real Daphne, because she gave us glimpses of what was going through her mind, of the real Daphne, and I really liked this. I thought she did a fantastic job. One of my favorite scenes also is when she's talking about her trainer, and she's talking about how handsome he is, how funny he is, and how she spends more time with him sometimes than she does with Cameron, and she makes a lot of emphasis on his physical attributes. And then she goes and hands Harper her phone, only for us to see it's just a kid with blonde blue eyes, and she's like, oops, I didn't mean to, I guess. Or like, oh yeah, I didn't know I was showing you my kids. So that's when we find out, like, oh, okay, so those are really not Cameron's kids. So, yeah, I really liked her character. I think she's probably my favorite character. Anyway, so I guess, but out of the whole thing with them hooking up with each other, I was expecting a little more. I guess for Harper's character, viewing things from her character, I guess I was a little disappointed, because they did end up basically becoming the people they hated, which is we see in the first few episodes where she's making a lot of emphasis on, like, I don't want to be like them, I don't want to be like them, and that's who they ended up becoming, just like them. Alright, now moving on to Tanya and Portia. Portia. Portia was my least favorite character. She was so annoying. She was whiny, she was useless. It was just, I could not stand her. And it goes down to show how good of a, job the actress did. I thought, whenever I saw her, I was like, ugh, I can't stand this girl. Obviously, nothing against the actress. It was just her character that I thought was annoying. So connecting her with Tanya, for me, it was very sad. The way Tanya basically, I was frustrated by the way the writers, I guess, decided to end this character, because she fought for her life. She killed all of these guys, and from the beginning, of course, the viewers, we know what's going on. We learn that once Greg leaves and these guys come, that's when, for me, it was a little obvious that yes, they're clearly trying to, there's something wrong there, right? And Quentin kind of like there's a lot of foreshadowing with him saying all these things about, I remember this thing that he says, are you ready to die for beauty? And then he takes her to the opera to see Madame Butterfly, and which, by the way, was that scene was so great because that particular aria is like a favorite of mine. So of course he explains to her, like, this is what happened. So Tanya's character, yes, she's annoying, yes, sometimes she's kind of dumb, but I think she became a likable character, and I think she was a fan favorite. So I think the writers maybe missed an opportunity of like keeping this character alive and maybe bring her for like the last season of the show. I think that would have been awesome. Yes, of course, I know you can't have her every season, or maybe you could, you don't know. That would have been quite the gag, honestly. So I was very frustrated by the way, it was just so dumb the way it was really dumb the way she died. I think that's what made it even sadder. And then, I'm not gonna lie, when she falls, I was kind of like expecting her to come out and say something stupid for that kind of like, for the comedy right there, but it didn't happen. Even when you see her body sinking, you're thinking maybe she's like gonna like scream or something. But then of course the next day when Daphne's swimming and you see her body floating, that's when you get that kind of like slap in the face, like, no, it really happened. So that was a little frustrating. Obviously, knowing that Greg is gonna keep her money, that's just very frustrating. But then again, going back to Portia, what I thought was really infuriating is that she could have helped. You would think that someone like Tanya, with the amount of money that she has, is probably like a billionaire thing, she must have some sort of like private security, or I don't know. But I feel like Portia could have made some calls. She didn't do anything because she was useless. And then at the airport, when she learns that, yes, indeed, that Tanya didn't make it, she didn't seem bothered by it. It was like, okay, hey, Obi, can I have your number? Which made it even more frustrating. Like, this silly character just basically ended up getting her way as well. Like I said, she ended up hooking up with Jack. And then at the end, she got Obi, basically. So for me, I don't know. I didn't like that. And so do I think it was a good episode? I think based on what the writers are giving us, or the type of show that it, the White Lotus is, I guess so, because it is not about being fair. Something I guess we have to remember as the viewers is that we're going to get a bittersweet ending always. And I guess seeing things from that perspective, then yes, I think it was a good season finale. Did I like it? Not really. I guess I wanted more, and I wanted something different for some of the characters, and that's what I have to say. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And let me know in the comments below what you thought of it, and also what your favorite movie is. See you in the next one. Cheers.